Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Hello everyone. Um, Today, me and my group will be presenting about extradition as one of international law main topic. My name is Nakata Putra, and I will be the first to present you about extradition. Let's get into the topic without further ado. So, what is extradition? Extradition is a legal process where one country officially asks another country to surrender a person who is accused or convicted of committing crime so that they can face trial or punishment in the requesting country. So, what it basically means is when someone commits crime in your country and they fled to another country, let's say they're from Indonesia, they commit crimes maybe like corruption in Indonesia with not small amount, a big amount of money they corrupted, and then they fled to another country where, let's say, Singapore, for example, and you want that person back you want to jail them, you want to trial them. So that is what extradition is in basic words, in basic terms. So what is the purpose of this? What is the purpose of extradition? The first one is to ensure justice so that criminals or suspects cannot escape punishment by fleeing to another country, which, like I said earlier. And the second is to promote international cooperation, which helps countries to work together to fight crimes that cross borders, like terrorism or drug trafficking or even corruption. The third is to prevent safe havens for criminals so that there are no criminals so the criminals cannot go to any countries and make them a hiding place for them, for the criminals.
Okay, next, what are the legal basis for extradition? So basically, we need a legal basis to catch someone who being a criminal in another country, because if we have a legal basis, they had difficulties to run, to escape, to avoid the charge from the country. So the first is extradition treaties or agreements between countries, and the example is between US and UK extradition treaty on 2003. And then the next is national laws. So every country has its own domestic law about extradition procedures. And then the example is our country, which is Indonesia's law number 1 of 1979 on extradition. And the last is international conventions. Some global or regional treaties contains extradition rules. The example is UN Convention Against Corruption 2003, European Convention on Extradition on 1957, and the last is UN Convention Against Transnational Organized Crime on 2003. So the legal basis for extradition is really needed, because sometimes the criminal had its own way. I mean, they had different kind of variety and doing bad things, doing criminal things, something like that. So that we need a basis, we need a foundations to take an action to charge them, to punish them, so that we can get justice for anyone. And the next, we are talking about political and human rights dimension of extradition. So this is it has correlations between human rights, of course, because we cannot charge every single person based on our prejudice, based on our perception only, because we will get stopped by the human rights law. I mean, each person they has their own what to say, rights to like to defend themselves, something like that. So political and human rights also crossroads with sovereignty and human rights. For example, some countries might refuse to extradite citizens to nations with unfair trials or harsh punishment systems. As example, Julian Assange to the US extradition raises concern over freedom of press, and Edward Snowden case where Russia refused to extradite him. So basically, each country also had their own what to say perception. They had their own rights to what to say take action for their what to say their people, especially when we are talking about extradition and the relation to human rights and self-sovereignty. And then the next is I will tell you about case example for the extradition. There are three of it. The first is Joko Chandra, which is Indonesians. So the case is he convicted of a corruption case, which is Bali's bank scandal. So the details is he was fled to Papua New Guinea in 2009 and lived there for years using fake documents. And then the outcome of the case is he was arrested in 2020 and got extradited back to Indonesia in the same year. And then the next case example is Samadikun Hartono. He is Indonesian also. So the case, he fled to China after being convicted for misuse of bailout funds, which is BLBII case. And then the outcome is he was extradited back to Indonesia after being 14 years on the run. This case resulted in the Indonesia-China extradition treaty in 2009. And the last is Hendra Rahardia. The case is he accused of embezzling over 1.95 trillion rupiah from Bank Harapan Sentosa during the BLBI scandal also. And then he fled to Australia in 1999 to escape prosecution. And then the outcome, Indonesia request extradition, but Hendra died in 2003 before the process was complete. So basically, extradition is a really interesting things, which is it correlate with a lot actors, which is the criminal, the state, the government, and then of course about human law and many other things. I mean, because when we're talking about international, so the scope will be wider and there will be a lot biases and something like that.
I'm gonna explain the challenges in extraditions. The first one is political asylum versus extradition conflicts. Sometimes a person seeking protection in a country applies for political asylum because they fear of punishment in their home country. This can conflict with the home country's request for extradition. The second one, absence of extradition treaties in some countries. Some countries do not have extradition agreements with each other, making it difficult to transfer suspects or defendants across borders. The next one is human rights violation in requesting countries. If the requesting country is known for human rights abuses or inhuman punishments, the requested country may refuse extradition to protect the rights of the person involved. Now the last one is cybercrime and digital borders. Crimes committed via the internet are hard to track and prosecute because they cross digital borders without physical boundaries, posing a major challenge for extradition. Now let's jump into the conclusion. Extradition plays an essential role in maintaining international justice and cooperation. It ensures that criminals cannot escape punishment simply by crossing borders, while also promoting trust and collaborations between nations. Supported by treaties, national laws, and international conventions, extradition helps uphold the rule of law and prevent any country from becoming a safe haven for fugitives. However, cases such as those of Joko Chandra, Samadikun Hartono, and Hendra Raharja also show that extradition is not only a legal process, but also a test of political will, diplomacy, and respect for human rights. That's all from us. Thank you so much. Is there any question?